Hi guys, Sci-Fi Recapped here. Today I am going to explain the film called The Last Flight. Spoilers ahead, watch out and stay safe. The movie opens up in an empty airplane, where the flight attendant, Mina, suddenly wakes up. Surprisingly, she doesn't recall how she ended up here. She screams for her boyfriend, and fortunately he arrives and consoles. The boyfriend appears to be the pilot of the aircraft. Suddenly, the emergency door opens and he is sucked out of the plane. The sight horrifies Mina and she tries her best to save herself, but eventually, she also meets the same fate as her husband. The next second, Mina wakes up on a bus. It turns out everything was just a dream. She, along with her colleagues, are on a tropical island. They are soon flying to Singapore, and the pilot is none other than Mina's boyfriend, Charles. Here, we get to know that the two recently broke up, and that's why they are acting so cold towards one another. Later, during the check-in, we are introduced to an entitled mixed couple, Kevin and Melissa. They are rich Americans who think they are better than everyone because they paid for the first-class seats. When Kevin is stopped for holding a pocket knife, he argues that he should be allowed to take it because of his status. At the same airport, a group of 5 young tourists is on its way back home after a month-long vacation. One of them, named Daniel, has brought with him something that is not allowed on the airplane. In front of him is a little girl traveling with her blind grandmother. Daniel pretends to show her a magic trick and secretly puts his stuff into her bag. Fortunately for him, the bag passes through without the security officers noticing. In the following scene, all the passengers board the plane. Since they are traveling off-season, there are only 9 of them. The flight attendants are at ease because it is an easy day at work for them. Among the group of young people are a couple named Sophie and Max. Max is a hard worker and has been on his laptop the entire trip. His girlfriend frequently tells him to pay her more attention, but he never listens. Sophie is understanding of her boyfriend's nature, but is always hungry for his attention. What she doesn't know is that Max has just bought their dream apartment and is about to surprise her when they land in Singapore. Charles welcomes the passenger aboard and wishes everyone a comfortable flight. As he talks to a flight attendant, it is revealed that the airlines have gone through a massive cross-cutting recently, which means they have been provided just enough fuel for the trip. It is not an ideal situation for a pilot, but Charles is confident the trip will be safe. Finally, the plane takes off and reaches its desired height safely. Daniel is with his sister, who tries to engage in a conversation, but he is distracted by his stuff in the little girl's bag. The economy class is interrupted when the blind woman gets off her seat in panic. She claims that they are all going to die and begs the flight attendant to land immediately. They eventually manage to calm her down and everyone thinks she is just paranoid. In the meantime, Mina goes to the cockpit to check up on the pilots. She comments that the moon looks closer today, to which Charles reveals that what they are seeing is a supermoon that occurs once every year. It is also revealed that Mina is set to be a professional pilot next year, and her instructor is Charles. Outside, a flight attendant named Jessica goes to Zhao, a member of Sophie and Max's group. He flirts with Jessica and the two instantly seem to hit it off. A while later, everyone falls asleep and Zhao goes to the supply room to meet her. They secretly sneak into the business class bathroom and start making out. While walking out of the bathroom, Zhao bumps into Sophie. He quickly brings her aside so she won't know Jessica is still inside the bathroom. As they talk, we find out that Sophie is having an affair with Zhao behind her boyfriend's back. While Max is busy working for their future, has been sneaking around his back throughout the entire trip. Zhao tells her that he loves her and asks her to break up with Max as soon as possible. Sophie promises to do so after they land, unaware that Zhao is playing her. Jessica is still in the bathroom when she notices a shadow behind her. It disappears pretty quickly, so she doesn't think about it too much. Sophie returns to her seat and fondly watches the little girl draw in the front seat. Then, she notices a strange drawing of a girl with 2 guys who look too much like Sophie and her partners. The drawing shocks her, but she assumes it is a coincidence and focuses on Max instead. Mina comes back to the supply room and finds a damaged package with half-eaten food inside it. Before she can investigate what happened, a locker moves on its own and attacks her. Sometime later, a scream is heard from the supply room. As it turns out, Jessica's dead body was found covered in scratches from some kind of animal. Everyone gathers up in a panic, not knowing what to do. Charles takes control of the situation and asks everyone to be seated. The Singapore police will be on the runway when they land and will take care of the situation. Until then, no one is allowed to go near the dead body. Max wants Charles to let him investigate the death because he has experience in forensic science. Upon getting a closer look at Jessica's wound, he finds out the scratches are poisonous and a human couldn't have done it. Charles refuses to believe it because there is no possible way for an animal that dangerous to board the plane without anyone knowing. Kevin overhears the conversation in the cockpit and loses his mind. He creates a scene, calling everyone a coward and asking the pilot to do something. Suddenly, the lights go off and the electronic devices stop working. Charles sends his co-pilot down to the electric room to fix the problem. He remains downstairs for an unnaturally long time, worrying Mina. Hence, after waiting for a while, she decides to look for him. Max also joins her and the two find the co-pilot's dead body with similar scratches. Rushing back to the cockpit, they tell Charles what they found. The mission control claims that they are working with Who to figure out what the problem is, but an emergency landing is impossible because of an impending storm. While waiting for the storm to pass, Max fears for his and Sophie's life. Hence, he tells her about the house he bought them. Sophie is overwhelmed by the surprise and feels extremely guilty for cheating on him. Their moment is interrupted by a yelling Melissa. She runs downstairs with scratches on her body, having survived the animal by seconds. Everyone runs to help her, except Daniel, who goes to the little girl to ask for his stuff. He aggressively looks through her bag, but the thing he hid there is missing. When he starts yelling at the little girl, the others stop him and inquire what is wrong. This is when he reveals that he had brought a cat fossil with him from the tropical island. He did it out of curiosity because the fossil looked expensive. Kevin attacks him, blaming him for hurting his wife. Although Daniel insists that the cat was dead and harmless, he doesn't have an explanation for how it disappeared. Kevin is a second away from killing Daniel when the captain makes an announcement that stops him. He asks the injured passengers to flush their system in and out with water to help with the pain. Charles has just made contact with the officials from the island and found out that a similar cat fossil was found on it. Although they appear to be dead at first, they can be extremely dangerous. The extent of their abilities is unknown, but the locals have been warned to stay away from them. As panic sets in among the passengers, Zhao starts hitting Daniel. When Max tries to stop him, Zhao discloses his relationship with Sophie. Max looks at his girlfriend for reassurance, but the look on her face makes it clear that Zhao is telling the truth. Suddenly, they hear a noise from upstairs. Daniel follows it to take care of the situation himself, since he is the one who started it. A while later, his sister comes looking for him and is attacked as well. When the others run to see what's up, they find the siblings on the floor, heavily injured but not dead yet. They say that the cat is too quick and they could barely see it when it moved around. Mina panics and calls Charles, but he cannot come out of the cockpit without his co-pilot in charge. He asks everyone to stay in the business class and lock the doors. Just when the passengers think they are safe, the overhead compartments start making noises. Zhao feels the monster cat nearby and knows that it will attack him if he makes a slight movement. To save himself, he tells the old lady that her granddaughter is in trouble. She gets up and becomes an easy target for the cat. In the end, she dies because of the poisonous injury. Sophie confronts Zhao for being an awful person and finally realizes she made a mistake in judgment of character. At the same time, Mina finds a bunch of drawings made by the little girl. They depict the events that have happened till now, which means that she can somehow see the future. After that, the passengers decide to barricade the doors to the business class, except for Daniel and his sister, who stays in the toilet where there is plenty of water. Daniel starts humming a song to calm his sister down, but instead, it attracts the monster. He then locks his sister out of the toilet to fight the cat on its own. She runs to others for help and Daniel follows her a while later. Another problem arises when Kevin refuses to share water bottles with anyone except his wife. He breaks the handles of a suitcase and uses it as a weapon to warn everyone to stay away. This causes an altercation between him and Daniel is killed in the end. Kevin turns more rogue by the second, thinking they won't survive the plane ride, but Mina calms him down by showing him a drawing that depicts the plane landing safely. Since it was drawn by the little girl, they believe it will be their future. Later on, Charles is informed that they cannot land in Singapore because of a tropical storm. The nearest and fastest they can land is at the Thimphu airport in Bhutan. Kevin figures out the plane is ascending yet again and yells at Charles to land no matter what the weather is in Singapore. In an attempt to calm everyone down, Charles informs the passengers that an antitoxin will be provided to the injured as soon as they land. Kevin thinks he is being lied to and gets into a fight with the guys once again. Suddenly, a tentacle pierces through his chest and kills him while the others watch in shock and terror. With him gone, everyone runs to the cockpit for safety, but they know they will be followed by the monstrous cat. Hence, Mina, Zhao, and Max go outside to set a trap and kill it. They are able to summon it near them, but the cat suddenly attacks Zhao and runs away. Max holds his friends as he apologizes and dies in his arms. Next, Mina and Max use a toy to play music and summon the cat yet again. The plan works and the cat appears in front of them, distracted by the music. However, trouble arises when the music stops and the cat gets ready to kill. Seconds before it attacks, Charles opens an emergency door and gets sucked out alongside the monster. Mina tries to hold on to him but soon realizes the cat will also come in if she pulls Charles inside the airplane. Charles deliberately leaves the rope, sacrificing himself for the passengers. Even while mourning his death, Mina gets on the pilot's seat and lands the airplane safely. The medical team arrives with antitoxin, and everyone aboard is saved. When the chaos ends, Mina gets a call from Charles, who turns out to be alive after falling into the sea and swimming his way out. The movie ends as they confess that they want to give their relationship another chance. Subscribe and hit that like button to help our channel grow. Turn the notifications on so you won't miss any of our new videos. Thanks for watching.